What's going on, everyone? Wrestling warm-up, June 8th. John Alba here. Not quite Doug, don't have the beard, but it's still as good as sexual chocolate or something to that nature. Thanks so much for joining us today, because things are going to be a little unorthodox. You're going to get a little bit of a different program, and that's okay. Change is always good. It's what's best for business when all's said and done. Doug is out there helping out some people out in the banks of South Carolina. It's not a bad deal. But I'm joined by some very special guests today, as we always have great guests here on Wrestling Warm Up. And first, we're going to start with Adam Daly, without his I don't even know. I mean, this is a weird sight.
Yeah, it's strange that now it's just me here. So I know I know you're not quite Doug. I know I'm definitely not quite Sam. So I don't really bring the looks to this anymore. But I'm quite elegant in my own right, so I guess in a way I do.
You're not wrong. And anywho, we're also joined by a special guest today. He's been a friend of the Wrestling Rumors circle for several years now, and he was down in New Orleans with us for WrestleMania. Jordan Katz, what's going on?
How's it going, John? Thanks for having me.
Oh, yeah, and you're definitely a Paul Heyman guy alongside a Chad Pennington guy. Is that back there?
Oh, the Chad Pennington poster in the back. I think that's been on my door since, like, I was 10, and I just don't take it down. Well, the Jets also haven't had a quarterback since Chad Pennington, so, I mean, there's that.
That's true. That's true. Now, Adam, you're a diehard Raiders fan, so you've probably put up with more than Jordan over the years, so kudos to you for that.
Thank you. Yeah, it's not easy. It's not easy. It's a family. It's not you're not friends because we put up with a lot. So,
listen, I wouldn't make any bones about the Jets having a worse situation, trust me.
Yeah. We're in together.
We're not here to talk football tonight. We are here to talk professional wrestling and sports entertainment. And, of course, tonight is the go-home edition of Monday Night Raw for Money in the Bank. Wait, go-home edition? Didn't we have a pay-per-view like 2 weeks ago? Things are a little weird here. But Money in the Bank traditionally delivers every single year. But something about this card has got me feeling a little off the edge. Let's get into things. Last week we found out that the main event is going to be between Dean Ambrose and Seth Rollins. This, my friends, is most definitely best for business. We can't have any complaints about that. Let me ask you guys this. Are you guys feeling the main event between Rollins and Ambrose as a ladder match, which, for those wondering, excludes Ambrose from participating for Money in the Bank?
Yeah, I dig it. I totally dig it. I mean, I think these two could make magic on a ladder match. I think right now there's so much is being focused on Owens and Cena that this is kind of a sleeper match that might, in a way, steal the show. These two guys are familiar with each other. They're both used to these high spots that they're going to have to take, but, within caution. I'm kind of digging it. Even though I think the build-up is kind of whatever on it, I'm looking forward to the match.
Jordan, what do you think?
I would agree, just to play devil's advocate and say no for a second, because I actually do agree. I kind of get the sense that by Dean Ambrose not being in the Money in the Bank match, we already know the winner before the match has even started. And that is generally when Money in the Bank pay-per-view goes away. John, we were at the one a couple of years ago where Damian Sandow, literally out of left field, won the briefcase. Now, that didn't wind up panning out the way they wanted. But it was so unexpected that it left everybody in shock and awe. And those are generally the Money in the Bank cards that leave you saying, wow, what a great pay-per-view. And I don't get the sense that this one is going to be that. Now, this match will be terrific, no question about it. But just not having Dean Ambrose in that ladder match, or not having anybody that's challenging Roman Reigns, to me is just sort of making the card a little subpar.
Well, and I think you hit it dead on there, Jordan. You look at the Money in the Bank card, and you look at who is in the Money in the Bank match. You got Sheamus in there. You got Kofi Kingston there. Oh, I wonder why Kofi Kingston's in there. Can anyone think of a reason that Kofi Kingston is in Money in the Bank? This might be one of the tag team champions right now. Why is he in Money in the Bank? I guess we're gonna soon be balling rights itself. He does crazy spots, right? That's why he's in there. You got Sheamus, like I said. You've got Barrett in there, and Lord knows he hasn't done anything over the past anything. That whole King of the Ring thing. Well, that didn't work out very well. Actually, I'm mistaken. Barrett is not in this match, right?
I don't think so. I thought.
Okay. I had a little slip of the mind there. Thankfully, Barrett's not in this match.
I think
it's Orton, Sheamus, Ziggler, Kane, Roman Reigns, and Kingston. So let's just skip. Let's just go right to the point here. Kane
in slacks.
In slacks. Kane was added at the end of last week. Adam, your thoughts on Kane being in this match?
I think it almost, in a way, sets up him somehow either helping Roman Reigns, or he's going to be the cause for Roman Reigns to get the briefcase in some manner, whether it's accidental or whether it's intentional. I feel like he's in this match now to further the storyline.
Absolutely. The finish of that match is going to be between Kane and Roman Reigns, which is just...
It hurts. It hurts.
So why is Kane in this match?
Can I just say what Adam said and we move past this, because that's basically why Kane is in the match. Kane is in the match to sort of give you the belief that he's there to take out Roman Reigns, but he'll be involved in the finish, no question about it. Neville is in this match because Kofi Kingston is in this match, and the two of them are going to have some ridiculous spot. So we're already down. We're already, before the match starts, we're down to Randy Orton, Roman Reigns, and Sheamus. Sheamus is apparently I think he's got to be the plan for the Intercontinental title, so he's out. And Randy Orton just unless the point of the briefcase is to set up a match at SummerSlam, which we know it's not, at least in Randy Orton's case, we're already on Roman Reigns. We're on Roman Reigns before the match starts.
With the Intercontinental Championship, you're looking at Miz and Big Show right now. You're not looking at Sheamus. It seemed like at one point Sheamus was going to be. But
yeah, my point was more down.
Adam was here last week. We were so spot on with how they were going to book that. I'm like, at the end of the show, I'm like, they're probably going to throw Big Show as the challenger for Ryback. And everyone's like, damn it, it's going to happen. And there it was. And it was so spot on. And there are some interesting moving parts here. Bray Wyatt's been saying some interesting things. I don't know how he's not in this Money in the Bank match. That, to me, is baffling. Adam, you look like you want to say something.
Yeah, I actually wanted to go back to something Jordan said earlier, too, because I actually agree with you. This does leave Roman Reigns the front runner for Money in the Bank. And don't you feel like if Roman Reigns does win Money in the Bank, don't you feel like, in a way, we already know that Dean Ambrose is going to win the Royal Rumble?
That's
Go ahead, Jordan. I'll respond to that.
I'll disagree with John right off the bat. That's sort of the first way to go with it, and I actually sort of agree. Because I think if you want, and Vince and company want Texas to be the be-all, end-all. And if you want next year's WrestleMania to be the be-all, end-all, well, you give us the Shield triple threat match for the championship, and you're there before anything even starts, because the main event, you could put anybody else on the card, and for most die-hard wrestling fans, the main event is the main event. So I think for me, yeah, I think that would pencil in Dean Ambrose for the Royal Rumble, unless the goal is for Dean Ambrose to actually hold the belt before WrestleMania. And I don't see why that would be the case.
Here's my assertion on that. I think we all agree that the Shield triple threat is still the way to go for Mania, but I don't think one correlates with the other, that if Reigns wins Money in the Bank, Ambrose wins the Rumble, because I think Reigns' payoff with the Money in the Bank briefcase comes much earlier than WrestleMania. I still believe that it comes at SummerSlam when things go full circle and you've got your Rollins-Lesnar matchup for the championship, and Roman Reigns is the one to cash in his Money in the Bank. I think that's where the money is in that payoff.
I would agree with you, but I actually don't think that the two statements are still separate from one another. I still think that Dean Ambrose is the guy that has to win the Royal Rumble, because the guy that can be inserted right now out of left field is Seth Rollins. They can deem when the two of them are in that there's a screwy finish somehow, and the Authority can put Seth Rollins back in.
Well, and
that's the way you can get the triple threat.
You brought up an interesting point in the Authority and Seth Rollins. Over the past few weeks, especially last week, Seth Rollins says, I don't need the Authority anymore. Where are we going with this, guys?
I think there's something with Roman Reigns still being too buddy-buddy with Ambrose, and maybe call it just, maybe they're working me, maybe whatever, but it's just, I feel like something's happening with Roman Reigns very soon, probably Sunday.
You think Sunday? What do you think happens?
I wouldn't be surprised to see him win Money in the Bank maybe Monday. That's why I keep saying don't be surprised if Kane assists him in a certain way. Because if they are starting to plant the seeds for with Rollins and Triple H being on the outs in a further match later on down the line, they always need that person to be in there with them. They need that plan B or they need that henchman that's going to run for the title. It's not a better time in the world to turn Roman Reigns heel if they wanted to keep them heel, or who's to say that the Authority in some direction wouldn't just turn face. I don't know, but I can kind of see Roman Reigns taking, and even if people are going to compare it to The Rock, who cares? I can see him taking an approach where something happens with him and Ambrose eventually, or vice versa, whether it's Money in the Bank and he goes with the Authority.
John, I just to jump in, I think that in terms of the idea behind Roman Reigns, I think that a lot of people have been pushing the idea of this is a great time to turn him heel because he actually has made gigantic strides, and I don't think anybody would question that, especially on the mic. I really like the fact that on the mic he keeps things a little shorter, a little simpler. He's a little more himself, and basically he just comes out and is exactly what you would expect him to be, and I think that's sort of more to his character. My personal opinion is if you want the heel turn, Plan B is at SummerSlam. That the idea of the Authority saying there's always a Plan B, that Plan B comes at SummerSlam. When Seth Rollins doesn't look like he's going to be able to beat Brock Lesnar, bang, Roman Reigns' music hits after, or maybe the Authority's music hits and says there's always a Plan B, and now here comes Roman Reigns. And now
maybe Brock Lesnar wins the title, gets the big face reaction everyone wants, and then Roman Reigns is like, nope.
Exactly. That's another possibility, but I think if you're going to have Roman Reigns turn heel, and this is the part where that still has me stuck on what they're going to do with Roman Reigns, if you're going to turn Roman Reigns heel, to me, you've got to flip Seth Rollins back. I think it's very important right now that 2 Shield members are face and 1 is heel. So I don't know if that's their overall plan to flip Seth back right now because he's one of the best heels they've got.
And there's always this other guy who's on the outside, and his name is Kevin Owens, and we're going to talk Kevin Owens in just 1 second. You're watching Wrestling Warm-Up here on WrestlingRumors.net. You can interact with us on Twitter at WrestleRumors. You can find me at John Alba. You can find Jordan Katz over here, our special guest today, at JordanKatz11, and Adam Daly. Well, he's got the lady nexus to his side. And then, Adam, what yours is? I'm still getting this memorized. It's hold on. It's Adam Daly 13, right?
Yep.
Bang. See, I got it, man. I got you covered, man. Well, like I said, this is a heck of a crew as Doug is absent today, and the rest of the Wrestling Rumors crew is absent. Alex Bisong, our colleague, is graduating high school today. He's the youngster of the crew, so congratulations to you. Bravo. And well, just don't end up like that viral video of that kid getting RKO'd on the stage. that won't do you any favors. And make sure you interact in our chat. Jordan's monitoring the chat right now, and he'll throw out some opinions from you guys. So make sure you get that in there. Let's talk Kevin Owens now. Right. Let's talk Kevin Owens right now. Clean win over John Cena at Elimination Chamber. Comes in last week, cuts an amazing promo on SmackDown, obliterates Zack Ryder. The 5-point preview from WWE is talking about him obliterating Cena's friend. They haven't screwed this one up yet, guys. What are we getting tonight out of them?
That was a key word, wasn't it? Yet? That was the key word. I think you're going to get more of the same. I think you're going to get 2 very spirited promos. I think you might even get the 2 of them coming to blows and sort of needing to be separated. I think you might see that. Most importantly, and again, something that I have an issue with, is John really going to lose at Money in the Bank? If he wins, is it going to be by an Owens disqualification? Because that sort of saves saves face for the opening win, in my opinion. See, look, the great part about this storyline is the fact that Owens actually won that first match, which I didn't see coming. If anybody did, congratulations, you get 2 thumbs up, because I didn't see it coming. But there's a way for them to screw this up, in my opinion. I don't want to see 3 rounds. I don't want to see Cena 2 out of 3. If you give Owens 2 out of 3, I'm okay with that, but I don't want to see Cena 2 out of 3. It's time. If you truly believe in Kevin Owens, then give him the 2 out of 3. Adam, I don't know about your opinion on this, but to me, this seems like one of those things that they generally screw up with John, where they have to put John Cena winning the 2 out of 3, no matter how good it makes the other person look.
Yeah, I made a comparison that really, when you look back, a lot of John Cena's best feuds have been somebody that was the complete polar opposite. Like, him and Orton feuded for so long, but we're never going to look back at that Orton-Cena feud and think, oh, man, it was awesome, because it wasn't. They just wrestled 5,000 times. But there's something special with these two that I think, this is, and obviously it's a two-man dance, but Kevin Owens right now is making himself a made man in this, because he's never fallen on his face once. His promos have been, I think, far better than what anybody expected. His matches have been far better than what anybody have expected. I would hate to see a booking issue come in and really drop the ball, but in a way, I'd want to see him get away from Cena as much as possible, at least probably after, by the Tokyo show, when he's probably going to drop the belt to Balor. It's going to be interesting to see where they go with him after that. But I'm wondering if that comes into play with this match at all, so that Cena wins number 2, then it goes to a game 3, so to speak.
I mean, that's how Cena's feuds have been booked for a year now. Every single feud is a best of 3, and it's eye for an eye, and someone gets a cheap win. It was amazing to see Owens get a clean win. John Cena, to our count, has lost clean 10 times in the last 10 years, which is just baffling. It's insane, and none of those have been by submission. And you got to think to yourself, you can't let Owens look bad coming out of this. So the DQ finish, it goes to his mantra: fight Owens, fight. Let him get in it. I would not have booked this match for Money in the Bank. I would have kept Owens and Cena away from each other for another year and a half, and then reignite it when you're ready to, when Owens is more established on the main roster. That's how I would have gone with this. For me, the interest comes is if he gets the upper hand on Cena once more, what is his involvement with the Authority? Because you have to think Owens is going to become involved with the Authority at some point soon. Maybe he's the one that threatens Seth Rollins. I mean, these guys would put on a bona fide classic.
Yeah, I think you actually just hit the nail on the head, and I could see him being the guy that when Seth eventually winds up turning, that Owens is the Authority's next play. I think it would make the most sense, actually, if you're going to turn Roman, if you're really going to turn Roman Reigns, I think it would actually make the most sense to sort of keep Kevin Owens away, because if you have Kevin Owens and Roman Reigns as part of the Authority, then you basically pencil yourself in for Seth Rollins having to go face. Whereas if you don't, then you can at least do some things with Seth for a little while. But I agree with you. I think Kevin Owens versus Seth Rollins is probably the way they go.
Jordan, why don't you go head into the chat, see what some people here have to say about this?
I'm looking.
Okay, do you have any thoughts for us from anyone?
Well, the big debate right now is Kevin Owens and John Cena, and how this is going to wind up.
What are some thoughts?
I think the overwhelming thought is that Cena wins this one and we get a third. And again, I don't see how that there's any way that doesn't happen. I think the question is, again, do you believe that Cena is that Owens is going to win the third one? Do you believe that Kevin Owens is going to come out on top of this thing 2-1, which is basically what has to happen? But again, what has to happen sometimes doesn't always happen. And there was one comment that caught my eye, where and I want to get your guys' reaction to it. It was a matter of John Cena putting over talent, and that has been a big discussion almost everywhere I've looked the last week or so, and I want to just get your guys' opinion just on that in general.
Adam?
I think 2 guys, Edge, CM Punk, and now Kevin Owens. I'd love to say Sheamus, but to be honest, it really never did much for Sheamus' career. Again, it's not like he was putting The Rock over. When you really look back and you say, who did Cena really put over? it's Edge, who had a following before Punk, and you could debate that, to be honest, and really, Kevin Owens. Those are the three guys, and in that span of time to really only be able to focus in on three guys.
Isn't it amazing that Edge had been in WWE way longer than Cena, but it took for him to start feuding with Cena to really put him over the edge and make him a superstar? And
that Lita.
But and Lita too. But that speaks to Cena's credibility. And there's going to be a lot of haters on the internet about Cena and whatnot, but look at the U.S. Open Challenge. I mean, the U.S. Open Challenge is Cena putting people over, regardless if they win or they lose, which obviously none of them have won in the U.S. Open Challenge yet, but you figure someone's gonna at some point, because it's not going to be Kevin Owens taking the United States Championship from him. That's why they haven't put the title on the line between these two guys, because there's no reason to have Owens win it. Because I think there's bigger plans for Owens down the line. And, we have the solidified Money in the Bank participants, but who's to say Kevin Owens won't insert himself at some point? There's a lot of possibilities with Owens, and you want to talk about best of three. Battleground's your next pay-per-view. That's a throwaway one, so we know Brock Lesnar might be there. So Cena's not going to be involved in the main event. So you very well could get Owens and Cena one last time, and then you have SummerSlam after that. And you're not going to be seeing Owens and Cena at SummerSlam. So I think that there's a good chance you get one more installation here. If you guys have any questions for us, throw them in the chat. Jordan will read off the questions, give you some user credit too. I'll get to Twitter. So out of...
You don't... Oh,
go
backtracking
ahead.
for a second. You don't see Owens Cena again at SummerSlam?
No, because that would be the fourth match.
Well,
I don't think you see four.
See, I think you see three. I think you see...
You don't think you see it at Battleground?
No, I don't. I think you see it at SummerSlam. I think they wait. I think at Battleground, maybe it's supposed to happen and it never does. And then they get the big payoff at SummerSlam.
I won't make that call until we see what happens at Money in the Bank.
That's fair.
Because if you get a screwy finish at Money in the Bank, you're not going to get another screwy finish at Battleground. So I'm not entirely sold on that, but we'll see. There's realm of possibility for that, Jordan. Getting back to Twitter, we have the question: does Cena and Owens become a best of five from Acer? I don't think it's a best of five. I think that's a little too long. And again, you want this to be fresh in a few years when you revisit it. Does anyone disagree with me on that?
No, I agree. I can't see this as a best of five.
All right, so no to the best of five. And a comment from our buddy Chris Walder, who's working right now: Owens versus Cena will be another Shield versus Evolution situation. The right guy is going over here. So there's some interesting things here. From @HeelWilders, can't Owens remain a Lesnar-type character who doesn't actually have affiliation with the Authority but just tears it? Yeah, absolutely. He totally can. But I think they're not entirely sure what the end game plan is for Brock Lesnar. And now we have to talk about Brock Lesnar, because at the end of the Austin podcast last week, Stone Cold Steve Austin went into straight-up promo mode and said, I'll take Lesnar. You tell your client, Paul, that I'll take him in a Texas death match. Well, you're not going to get a Texas death match. But still, nonetheless, guys, is that where we're going for Lesnar? Do you guys buy into that?
I mean, if that's what they're planning, I don't know if they would plant seeds that heavy if there wasn't some intent behind it, because that's opening a can of worms that you quite can't close. You know what I mean? I would love to. I'm hoping it does happen. We'll leave it at that.
Jordan?
I think it does. We spoke about this after the podcast, where I told you I thought that basically just booked it for me, that was what it was going to be. I think we will see it. I think, I'll rephrase that. I think the intention right now, without a doubt, is for that to be a match. I think there's no question about that. Whether that will actually happen, how long they can go, I think that remains to be seen. If they can go, how long can they go? What can they do? I think that part remains to be seen. But I think the intention is absolutely there.
We want to hear your thoughts on this. Throw it in the chat. Throw it on Twitter. do you think that we will end up getting Brock Lesnar versus Stone Cold Steve Austin, and how would you book it? Because here's the deal. Okay, first off, if Stone Cold Steve Austin comes back, all these injuries that put him out a long time ago, Brock Lesnar's a tough guy to get in the ring with. And here's the other part of that. Brock Lesnar is automatically the heel in this match. But the way Brock Lesnar is being booked right now is he's a clear-cut face. I mean, on the network special, for crying out loud, he's facing Kofi Kingston, who's on the best heel team in the company right now.
John, here's an interesting comment, and actually this is the first one I've seen of this kind.
Who had it?
PJO629 says, I don't want to see it.
See what? Lesnar versus
this
Austin?
Match. That's really, I believe it's this match. A lot of people saying that, no, we're not going to get this match. I think that not wanting to see it is a very interesting take, and I actually don't think he's wrong. I would love to see Brock Lesnar in the main event picture somehow, because I think that the best storylines with Lesnar are not actually his part-time storylines. I think they're his full-time storylines, which is when he's battling for the belt and when he's in matches with the Shield members in particular, because I think that that's the biggest thing that they've got going for the company right now.
But you got to figure that's going to be exhausted by the time WrestleMania comes around, because he's going to be facing Rollins in some way at SummerSlam.
Yeah,
and
but
you've already done Reigns. So you don't want to do that 2 years in a row, even though WWE has proven to us that means absolutely nothing. But the only way you can do it 2 years in a row is if Roman Reigns is your straight-up heel and Brock Lesnar is your face.
I just don't know if Austin Lesnar is necessarily what I want to see. A lot of comments coming in, so let me read a couple quick, and then I'll get your thoughts. Diggity Dak says, what type of match can you have with Austin and Lesnar if Austin can't take a lot of the bumps? And I think the most interesting comment and the idea of how far can you push Kevin Owens is from JBL's Dragon, who says, I want to see Owens and Lesnar.
Owens-Lesnar would be a hell of a way to go, but a lot of the people on the Wrestling Rumors staff, I don't know if I'm one of them yet, believe that we're getting Sami Zayn versus Owens at Mania. Adam, what do you think?
Yeah, I think we're getting Sami Zayn and Owens. I think that they're going to start planting seeds immediately when Sami Zayn comes back. I think that's the feud that's going to culminate there. As much as we want Lesnar to maybe face somebody younger just to see what he can do, I think this WrestleMania is more about nostalgia first and showcasing new stars after the fact. Not that, the upper card
which
mainly
sucks to me, but
yeah, I know, but it's one of those where I'm leaving everything so open and hopeful. Like, I'm just thinking about the promos that Austin and Heyman, with Lesnar would be able to cut back and forth. Now the match itself,
the feud, we agree, Adam, the feud would be phenomenal.
Oh, no question about it. Nobody.
It would be concerning, because my immediate thought, and I hate to compare to, because I hate comparisons, but I got so excited for Bret Hart at WrestleMania 26, and then we got.
Yeah, I mean, look, Austin's going to be in way better shape than Bret Hart.
Absolutely. But when you're facing Lesnar,
Man's not a good wrestler either. So there's.
Listen, there's a difference, though, between being in shape and being able to take some of the bumps that they want to take. Simple things like 3 suplexes are concerning in terms of Steve Austin.
Austin would not have cut that promo. Austin would not have cut that promo if he didn't think he could take a match with Lesnar.
Look, I agree. I agree with you 100%, and I'm just playing devil's advocate here. But there is a genuine concern if you see multiple suplexes, and I think the most interesting case is, what are you gonna have Brock lose? It's in Texas.
Yeah, and I mean,
Stone Cold actually can't win this because Brock Lesnar still needs to look like this dominant force. He can't lose to a part-timer. A part-timer with neck injuries.
12 years. Yeah.
A guy that hasn't wrestled in 12 years. He can't lose to him. You gonna have Stone Cold lose in Texas? It's a bold move, Cotton.
Well, you know what? They always say if you go out, you want to go out in your hometown. If you're going out with a loss on your back, you want to go out in your hometown or home state. And with it being so close to where he went to college, I don't think it would be an issue with him, laying down. I really don't.
But here's the deal: he already did that. He did that for The Rock. He did that for The Rock at WrestleMania 19. And there's that famous moment between them in that match where Austin scratches Rock's head and they say something and he pushes Earl Hebner away.
Mm-hmm.
But there's not going to be, and people love Brock Lesnar, and people love Paul Heyman. There's not going to be a single person cheering for Brock Lesnar in that building.
Yeah. Yeah. Again, I just...
Not a single building.
It's really interesting because, again, it seems like you back yourself into a corner when you make the match, because it seems like you basically have to, either Stone Cold has to lie down in his home state, or you really can't have the match. That's just my opinion. I don't know if either of you disagree.
I like the suggestion of Kevin Owens getting to Twitter here. Wouldn't want to see Austin Brock. Brock being stiff could end up taking a bit of a wreck like Taker. Awful is Austin got hurt from at MarkyBaby101. And then we also got from at Sabotage-itis, or it is, I can't tell. It's Matthew Mochow, who we've interacted with before. I don't think Lesnar versus Austin happens with Lesnar's entire moveset at the moment being dropping people on their heads. It's not wrong.
Nope.
Would Dallas, Texas become Suplex City? It could happen. I like Kevin Owens. I'd love to go with that. I'm already slighted by the fact that this card's going to be a nostalgia act. But I mean, it'll be cool upon seeing it. But especially when the focus is the future right now and NXT and everything, I don't like that whole idea of you're getting all these nostalgia acts to be taking up ring time. And when you do that kind of thing, you worry about overloading the card and seeing what could happen with that. Continuing with our 5-point preview here, Dolph Ziggler and Lana, or should I say Lana and Dolph Ziggler, because that's where the emphasis is right now with Lana. Where do we think we're going with her, guys? Because she could screw Ziggler out of Money in the Bank, if that's going to be more of an underlying storyline. If they're going to move forward with her as a face, where are we going with that?
Good, Adam.
You know what? I'm kind of stumped on this one.
Me too.
It's so.
Well, they're calling it audible. They're calling it audible because of Rusev getting hurt.
Absolutely, and I honestly question why they were going to immediately attach her to somebody else anyway. I thought if there was going to be a break, it should have been a clean break. Let Lana go out on her own. But unless there was a payoff in the end with her going back to Rusev. But with the injury in place now, I don't know. It just feels like they're playing it on the fly too. So it's so hard for me to. I'd like to think it's something where they're going to keep her face, but Rusev did cut a promo basically saying, "Whenever I come back, I will take everything back that that I lost." Maybe he does. Maybe he does win Lana back somehow.
Jordan?
I don't know. The reason why I don't know is because it sounds like they want Lana to be a face, but it also sounds like they don't know if they want Lana to be this manager type or if they want to attempt to teach her how to wrestle. And I just, for me, I think that Dolph Ziggler is a great temporary solution. I really do. And the reason why I think that is because Dolph gets a big pop every week. So by connecting Lana to Dolph, by default, Lana continues to get a big pop every week. So I actually think it's a really good decision until they ultimately figure out what they want to do. John, I'll leave this up to you. It's up to you. What do you think they want to do? Because right now, I mean, they got me stumped. I don't know.
Well, they're audibling, and I think they're writing it as they go. There's potential with Lana as a manager for anyone, but not as a Russian. But they're still pushing the whole ravishing Russian thing. So I'm not sure. Heck, maybe you throw her with Jack Swagger as a real American once you turn her. I don't know. Though, that's another thing we're going to get to in just a second.
Yeah.
But that's where I say with Lana. So let's get to that right now. Tyson Kidd gets hurt last week. Unfortunate. Hopefully he gets back soon. Right in the height of this whole best team ever thing was Cesaro. Leaving Cesaro with nothing to do. If I am them, it writes itself. Put the real Americans back together. They're both faces right now. You can get Zeb Coulter back on television. Get Cesaro relevant as Tyson Kidd is resting up and could be out for some time. This makes total sense to me. And with them as people wanted them to be faces when they were heels. With them actually as faces, I think there's a lot of money in this.
The other good point that you bring up, John, in terms of them being faces, is that what the tag team division is actually missing right now is that really likable face team. I think that they sort of temporarily think that the primetime players might be that. We love John. We love the primetime players, but I think that that's sort of their temporary thing. If they brought back the Real Americans, and actually there was a comment going back on the chat that I'm going to bring up right now. If they bring back the Real Americans, so you have the Real Americans being the face team, New Day is currently the heel, but what about Harper and Rowan? And if they came back and were a tag team,
and now Harper and Rowan are right around the corner. Don't think they're not.
And now you get the Real Americans versus Harper and Rowan for the tag team championship. That's that's a tag team match that I would actually want to see. I don't know about you, Adam, but I'm intrigued by that.
Yeah, actually, I don't mind that at all. I was concerned what was going to happen with Cesaro. I didn't really know what they were going to do. If that's an option, I'm all for it. Anything that would keep, and I think people would see that Cesaro was more of the general in that tag team this time too, so it would give Cesaro a little bit more time to shine. Versus, not that he was playing second fiddle to Jack Swagger, but it felt like he was always playing second.
Well, it was the gimmick. It was the gimmick.
Yeah,
but
absolutely.
Now that you have Cesaro a little more established, he's won a tag team championship. He's a face now, which is what he was supposed to be after WrestleMania when he had that huge moment. But now he actually is, and you have Swagger, who's a face. And people love Zeb Coulter if he can bring him back to television. This makes so much sense to me, and I really hope they go this route. They may not do it tonight, but I think maybe after Money in the Bank, that's where they're going to go with it. If they determine that Tyson Kidd is out for a period of time, we don't know. Tyson Kidd could only be out a couple weeks, but if this whole spinal fusion thing is a concern, and his neck or his back, you don't want to take risks. I would do this in a second, wouldn't even hesitate. Give us your thoughts at Twitter, at WrestleRumors, or in the chat at the link there. And let's also get to one more thing here in the 5-point preview. They're talking about Paige. The Bellas seemingly turned heel. They pulled in Alicia Fox last week. So they're heel again, I guess. It was a really bad segment, and there was nothing going on there at all. Paige cuts a promo on SmackDown, says, I'm changing things in the Divas division. And that's kind of like what she was billing herself as in NXT when she was the anti-diva. Do we expect anything out of this, guys? Adam, you want to kick us off here?
I don't know if this is just going to lead up to the match in Japan. You know what I mean? When they have the Divas Championship over there. So, I mean, I think this is just obviously more storyline building. I think this is maybe where we start to see the Divas division finally show off a little bit more. I think they've heard people's cries, but maybe that's also wishful thinking.
Jordan.
With Adam, Adam took the words right out of my mouth. I think this might be a play for when they have the Divas Championship over there. I think that the intention, though, behind the promo is to really to say that Paige is that the intention is that Paige is going to still be one of the top players in the Divas division, and that this is that where the Divas division is going down the line is where everyone wants it to go. When you have, as I like to call it, the core four in NXT coming up eventually, that this Divas division will be very exciting to watch.
And I believe, actually, truth be told, they're going to align Charlotte with Paige. I think they've got the two Bellas together right now. I think Charlotte is going to be coming up very soon. That is my belief. And I think that this was to start rolling the ball on that, because it's about time. Charlotte debuted more than a year ago on the main roster, believe it or not, when all is said and done. This needs to happen, in my opinion, and I really do believe that you're going to see Charlotte get up with the big girls, and something is going to happen in that regard. We're open. We're going to be winding things down here, so I want to make this an open forum. If anyone has any last-second comments you want to throw in on Twitter or in the chat. We got a question from Ed. He says, does Samoa Joe's stock take a hit after the Tyson Kidd incident? No, I don't believe so. Accidents happen, and it doesn't sound like it was Joe's fault. It sounds like it was just a fluke that happens in the ring. Any thoughts from you guys?
I don't think so either.
Okay, so we're all pretty much universal across the board there. Jordan, you got anything in the chat for us here? Before we wrap things up?
Looking. The NXT Four Horsewoman. I like that.
Yeah, that's what they've been billed at by WWE. So we'll see. Adam's given the 4 right now, but we'll see what comes of that. So here's the cool thing, guys, as we wrap things up here. After Raw tonight, on the Raw review on Wrestling Rumors, this guy Adam over here, he's going to be joined by his lovely wife Sam, and yeah, I won't even say it. Adam, who are you guys going to be having on as your special guest?
Tonight we're going to have on Jimmy Corderas, 22-year-long referee in the WWE, author, still a commentator. So we're excited. He's a jack of all trades kind of guy. So it's going to be fun talking Raw about with him, picking his brain about Money in the Bank a little bit, and seeing where the conversation goes.
If you have ever seen anything with Jimmy Corderas, the guy is so well spoken and has so many stories to tell. So what are you guys going to be talking about in particular?
Probably the main points of Money in the Bank. I might bring up the fact I think people would like to know that he's actually worked with Kyle Edwards before, and he knows Renee Young very well too. I think people would like to hear some maybe stories about them, especially Renee Young. She seems to be a fan favorite no matter who you are. But really, I wanted to get his input too about Money in the Bank, the Cena Owens feud. See what he thinks. He's been around the business for so long. I mean, he's a great mind to pick and really get his opinion on things too.
So, Jordan, I'm going to throw this out there since Adam and I can't answer this because we've got the Wrestling Rumors predictions going up online later this week for Money in the Bank, but you won't be part of that. So we've got a question in our Twitter. Who wins between Dean and Seth this weekend? Who you got?
I still think it's Seth Rollins, and I think it'll be something, again, that's a little fishy. To me personally, I still believe that the right way to go with Dean Ambrose is to have the big payoff at WrestleMania 32 and have that actually be the first title that he wins. So I'm still going to pick Seth Rollins. However, I would not be disappointed if they decided to give it to Dean Ambrose.
So you got his pick there. Now, I got one thing to plug because I've been given the permission to do it. And for those of you who don't know, I'm in a band, and this band's been very close to Wrestling Rumors, so we'll tie it in real quick here. We just put out our new single. It's called Done. My band's name is Bobby Mahoney and the Seven Son. Now, you see, I put the Twitter handle there, at Seven Son Band. Here's the thing, guys. Go follow it. We're going to tweet out the link to our single later tonight. If you tweet that link out, I'll follow you guys. On behalf of the Wrestling Rumors crew, we'll throw you guys some love, and it'll be real cool. So follow at Seven Sun Band right now. We're going to tweet out the link in a little bit, and all you guys got to do is share the link, tag the band, and I'll give you guys some love. We'll have some fun with that. Guys, any final thoughts going into Monday Night Raw tonight? Jordan?
I'm hoping for a good Raw. We spoke about it a little beforehand. I don't know how it's going to be. I'm very excited for the Cena Owens segment. I'm really excited, obviously, for the Seth Dean segment. I think that's something that really intrigues me. I'm interested to see if they add an eighth person to the Money in the Bank match. Bray Wyatt is currently not on the card. Nope. Maybe we get something with him tonight. You
guys know my pick was Bray Wyatt all along, and now he's not even in the match, so we'll see where that goes. Adam?
You know what? I just wanted to give a shout out and plug my buddies up in Minnesota, the PBI guys. Go to Twitter, go to @PBI guys. They what they're doing. I know a lot of people sometimes get a little disenchanted with wrestling commentary during Raw. They signed us an exclusive deal where they're actually doing alternative commentary. Go to either pbiguys.com or @PBIguys on Twitter. Get all the information. It's for a television service, so you'll have an alternative if you want. And really funny guys. You'll really enjoy them. So.
Very cool. Now, Adam, we got a question here on Twitter. They want to know, can they send in questions for you and Sam to ask Jimmy Corderas tonight?
Yeah, the best way to do that would probably be tweet at Sam at LadyNexus13. We record from my phone, so she'll have her phone on her. That's the best way to send in questions. And yeah, I'd love to grab a couple questions. Cool.
At LadyNexus13, you guys can chat with them on their Raw review. That is immediately after Raw. You'll also check out Wrestle Reaction with Frank Manzo. Guys, that's all we got here for Wrestling Warm-Up on WrestlingRumors.net. Don't forget, you can check out all the breaking news, rumors, everything, interviews on WrestlingRumors.net. Today we had the big stuff on Goldberg making his return to the ring. I'm not even throwing that out there to you guys because we all know how that conversation's going to go. You can find me on Twitter at John Alba, or tonight, remember, at 7sunband. We're releasing the single tonight. Just tweet at us. Tweet that single out. Wrestling Rumors, myself, will give you some love. It'll be cool. You can follow Jordan Katz, our special guest tonight, at Jordan Katz11. Jordan, thanks for coming on tonight.
No problem, John. Thanks for having me.
And, of course, Adam at AdamDaily13. And check him out later tonight with Jimmy Corderas. It's going to be awesome. Monday Night Raw starts in 45 minutes. Make sure, as he said, check out WrestlingRumors.net for all of your event coverage for this show. And find us Sunday at 6 o'clock in this very same place as we preview Money in the Bank. Money, 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 money. We'll see you guys next time.